Welcome everybody to the August 19th, 2025 Board of Selectmen's meeting. As with our last few meetings, this meeting is being held remotely using the Zoom webinar technology. What that means is if you want to see who is on the meeting, if you click the participants button, a screen will come up and you'll be able to see attendees and panelists. Panelists are those of us who will be actively participating in the meeting. During our open citizens comments, if you would like to say something, you may raise your hand, and there's a raise your hand feature also at the bottom of your screen, and that way we will bring you into the meeting and allow you to talk. But before we begin, I am going to take a roll call vote of the Board of Selectmen this evening. Robin Hunter, present.
Dave Haviland, present.
Pam Hudson, present.
And now we will start with the first item of business, 3 minutes late, my apologies. And that is citizens' comments. So again, if anybody has a citizen's comment, please hit the raise your hand button on the bottom of your screen and we will give you permission to speak.
There's only one attendee and it's the warrant committee, so.
I know. All right. So I'm assuming there's no citizens' comments, so let's move on to a discussion and vote regarding the warrant for our special town meeting on September 29th, 2025. This is a single focus meeting, and it's for the town to vote on MBTA Communities Act compliance. And I'm going to turn this over to Mike. And this is just customary for every town meeting for the Board of Selectmen to open and close the warrant.
Yep, no, that's exactly right, Robin. It is a little uncustomary for annual town meeting to open and close it on the same night. But as you said, the Board of Selectmen, the Planning Board made a deliberate decision to dedicate this meeting specifically to MBA Communities Act, given the complexity and the level of public interest it's going to generate here, and as we've seen in other communities. So before you is a draft warrant. You will see the lone article for the zoning amendment submitted by the Planning Board. This has been reviewed by Town Council. I would ask one caveat in your vote tonight. Town Council had been on vacation. We were waiting for one additional piece of information. Simply what that would be is the article would remain essentially the same as you see it. There was a question if we needed to include each of the individual parcels for all the individual condominiums or not. I'm hopeful, just for ease of reading sake, that's not true. But we just wanted to verify. I appreciate our town planner bringing that up just before we go to print. So happy to answer any questions, but if you do choose to move to approve the warrant, I would just ask that you approve it subject to any final revisions by Town Council. And again, the only revisions we expect would be just clarifying the parcel list.
Yeah, I mean, I would also like to add that this bylaw has also been reviewed by the Attorney General, correct?
Correct.
So I think it's thoroughly vetted. So I don't have any questions or comments. Do you, Dave?
I do not, but Cam wants to add 3 or 4 articles to this warrant, so.
Oh. You surprised me, Dave.
Yeah, right? No, all kidding aside, there's nothing to add. This is very straightforward.
Cam?
I agree wholeheartedly. Nothing,
All right.
nothing new here.
Okay, so then I'm going to make 2 motions. The first one is I'm going to move to open and close the September 29th, 2025 special town meeting warrant.
Second.
All in favor? I, Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Howland.
I can
then-
Hudson.
And let's see if I get this right. I'm going to move to approve the September 29th, 2025 special town meeting warrant, subject to revisions made by general
council.
counsel, town council.
Perfect.
Second.
All in favor? I, Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Howland.
I can Hudson.
Excellent. So thank you. You know, it's like making Thanksgiving dinner. It takes all day, but it takes half an hour to eat. And it took 5 minutes to approve this. And I would just like to acknowledge all the work that went into this by the planning board, the Board of Selectmen's office, um, our new town planner, just to make sure that we got it right. So thank you, everybody. I don't think the 5 minutes to vote for it acknowledged all the work that you did.
Well, that was well said.
Yes, my only comment is you're a slow eater, Robin.
I'm what?
A slow eater. If it
Yeah.
takes you half an hour to eat it off.
Right. So then the next item of business is also a discussion regarding the MBTA Communities Act. And really, we've had many discussions over the last 2 or 3 years about compliance with the MBTA Communities Act, what that means, making sure that we had a very town-involved process, selecting the site where we could have, or sites where we could have the overlay, potentially have the overlay district. We went to the Commonwealth. We even got the Attorney General to sign off on the bylaw. So the planning board has done an incredible job making sure that every I has been dotted and every T has been crossed. Last night we had I'll call it a learning session with all the other boards and committees, just educating the leadership in the town about the facts of the MBTA Communities Act. There is still, unfortunately, a lot of misinformation out there. We have a month and a half, 6 weeks till town meeting, and we really need to make sure that we're consistently hammering home the facts and how important it is for the town to be compliant with this act. It is the law, and non-compliance will be extremely costly to us as a town. So this conversation this evening is really for us as a board, as the Board of Selectmen, to let the town know whether or not we support compliance of the MBTA Communities Act, and if we as the board do select it, or just a majority of us do recommend compliance, we will also write a statement in the special town meeting blue book, but it's not a blue book, it's like an executive summary. So, for me, this is a no-brainer. It's the law. Non-compliance just means higher taxes to all of us in the town. I think and it's no longer a threat. When we first started out with this, that was a threat. But the Commonwealth has followed through. They've pulled grant funding. They've been even more explicit about the type of grant funding that would be at risk if you decide not to be compliant. They also have sued all towns that have made the determination not to be compliant. So not only is there the possibility of losing grant funding and also making you ineligible for future grants, there also is now Chapter 90 funds, which they said, and those are the funds we use to pave our roads and get every year. They've also said they will pull those funds from towns that aren't compliant. And we know towns that have fought the Commonwealth have spent $1 million to fight and lose. It's really a losing battle. So for me, it's an easy decision.
The only thing I would add to that, Robin, because it's also an easy decision for me, is that there is no known downside to complying. So the
Excellent
way that
point.
the planning board has structured this, there's no known downside. So we have, effectively no effect. But if we decide to fight, why would we? Well, I don't know what we'd be fighting for, but if someone wants to fight, there's massive downside. So
Right.
it's a risk reward. And, as stewards of the town, we've got to do what's right for the town. And what's right for the town, since there's no downside with complying, is to comply.
Right. And if the only way you can affect change is through House representatives, through the legislator. So
Mhm.
voting no is not going to affect change. It's just going to hurt the citizens of Dover.
Correct.
Right, and the other aspect of it is that it is the law. So as you both have said, it isn't optional for us to be compliant or not. We can try and fight it. We will lose, and we'll still have to come into compliance.
Right.
So there's really no benefit whatsoever from fighting this. And I think that's a point that needs to be made quite clear, that not only is aren't there any downsides to complying, there are real downsides to attempt to not comply, but in the end, we're still going to have to come into compliance. So I think it just seems to me a misuse of town funds to oppose this proposal.
Right.
Right.
And this is not the place to have the discussion, but the amount is also something that I think our citizens are going to be very interested in. But, getting back to this, the only thing is Mike was nice enough to add a possible suggested motion or two. Can we make it a touch stronger? Um, Instead of formally supports, strongly supports, or something along those lines. I just would throw that out in discussion period.
No, because I do strongly support it. For me, non-compliance is just not an option. It's just going to be so costly for all of our citizens. And people may think um, not getting grant funding is immaterial to the Dover budget, but that is not the case. Over the years, we have really been aggressive applying for grants for not nice to have items, but for infrastructure repairs, for replacement of equipment. And this strategy has really helped us manage the increase in the tax rate. So no longer being eligible to apply for those grants means we're still going to have to make those repairs, purchase new equipment, and we're all going to pay for it. So basically, a no vote for compliance is a yes vote to increase your taxes significantly.
I'm certainly in agreement with Dave's proposal to say we strongly approve.
Right.
I think that makes complete sense to me.
All right. So then I prefer the second motion option because I think it's just a little stronger.
Go.
Okay. So then I'm going to move that the Board of Selectmen strongly supports the September 29th, 2025 special town meeting MBTA Communities Act's warrant article and recommends that town meeting vote to approve the article.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Haviland.
I can, Hudson.
And in connection with this, we will also, with the help of Mike, put together a formal support statement that will go in the in the blue book, and Mike will work with each of us individually to make sure we're comfortable with with a draft statement that we need to get to the planning board by the 22nd, which is Friday, because what they want to do is they're in the process of rewriting that executive summary, and they want to be able to send it out for everybody to look at, including the recommendations by each of the boards and committees.
Uh, do we know length, positioning, or any of that detail yet? Or is that still?
So I think we're giving them a draft. I would say a page is probably too long, but a paragraph. Think of it as the blue book and what a recommendation might look like, and let's pull something together and send it to the planning board and get their feedback. They're the ones, just like the warrant committee typically is in charge of the blue book, the planning board is really taking the lead on this material distributions.
True. I just would hope that the Board of Selectmen, as the select board of the town, would be able to write a statement on their own. I hope that the warrant committee will do the same, and maybe even capital budget. The financial ramifications of this article on one side are absolutely massive, and on the other side are nil. So if everyone's weighing in, my my concerns are more related to the misinformation that you mentioned earlier, Robin.
Right.
And we've heard on some of the community outreach and the sessions that the planning board has done when it opens up to questions, we've heard people just materially misstate facts, well intended, but they're interpreting data, which is just simply not true. And I just want to make sure that in that document, there is at least one run through of where we started, why we did what we did, and at the end is leading the people to, vote yes. So as long as that's going to be in there, then again, it's not the time or place to talk about it right now.
Right. So I think, the I'm going to call it the special town meeting blue book that the planning board is putting together is 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 really mirrored after a blue book. So all the facts are in there. It's the presentations that really do the marketing as to why you need to vote for this. But you bring up a really good point, and I think we should be thinking about with the planning board, with Chris and Mike, on constantly getting sound bites out there. There's a lot of really important information, and we need to keep hammering the town of Dover with the information. And we definitely have Dover Day. That's an opportunity for us, but we should also think about all different kinds of medium, I think it is, to get the word out. And we need to hit everybody in town. So I would like to find, maybe we go to the transfer station and we could split it amongst us with a little card or a fact sheet with those salient points. Like if you vote no, this is what you lose. But we need to get the word out to all the citizens. I know Chris is working with our PR firm, so they may have ideas. Like, I don't know about the two of you, but for me, when the Amelia Peabody exhibit was in town, they had those simple poster boards. I read every single one, every single day. Never found it annoying in any way and learned a lot about her. So maybe something as simple as that, just catching your eye just gives you like an actual fact or two. Because I feel as though everybody's brain is so full of things that they can only pick up one little factoid at a time. And we can we can work with the planning board based upon, we all know we all want to get to yes the first time. And I think we can get there. We just have to make sure that the town is focused on the important stuff.
So we have a
And,
grand community opening on Dover Days.
Right,
There's a perfect opportunity to put I'm going to say a poster board, an easel we
right,
could get them made nice and professional. And I'm going to make this number up, but 5 salient points we want to convey. We could reuse them then at the transfer station, whether we're there or not,
right,
just to have them out. And, that's 2 weekends in the transfer station and the community center are two pretty key areas. So I think we'll be reaching a lot of people with bullet points.
right,
Um,
right. And for me, I think what's really important is that these bullet points are jargon free. We're just making clear statements. So instead of talking about um, bylaws or
Chapter 90.
30As or 40Bs or whatever, we
right,
just say exactly what is being proposed here and why we think it's a really almost mandatory for us to support this proposal.
right. Like the first bullet point is it's the law. I mean, I don't know
Mhm.
what else to say.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Well, I would append to it. It's the law, and opposing it will only bring costs and no benefits
Right,
whatsoever.
right, right. So, Chris, maybe, each of us, and we should ask the planning board the same thing, just to send, key bullet points that they want to make sure we have very strong messages. And, if Guilfoyle can kind of help us with the 5 or 6
Mhm.
most effective bullet points for us to constantly just flash in different places
Yeah.
so that it sticks in the brains of all residents.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we put out a press release today.
Right,
It started to hit on some of the key messages. I think the good news is we have all of our key messages mapped out. It's just now we have to spread it out across all the mediums and channels. So we've got a pretty robust digital campaign ready to roll out that started today and over the next 3 weeks. But yeah, I think there's been a lot of discussions about different opportunities in terms of some physical material
right.
to hand out and post everywhere. So we're exploring that internally elsewhere and trying to put together some options, to go alongside the digital stuff.
So I think for us, Chris, it would be really helpful. I mean, we're all anxious about not doing enough. So maybe if you could just keep us informed, even a short email, like these are the things that we have planned over the next week. Because I think everybody is very anxious about making sure we get the information out there, making
Yep.
sure we can pass this. So I think that would be really helpful because I
And
know
yeah.
you're doing a lot. And I thought, the process to get the press release right was really good. And in the end, it's amazing. You change 1 or 2 words and it really changes the overall tone and the impact of the message you're trying
Mhm.
to
Yep.
convey. So,
One of the things that it has to be done, I'm going to use the word properly, but is quantifying some of the financial implications that we're going to face if people vote no. And for instance, the Center Street Bridge repair replace project, I don't believe that 95% of people in Dover realize that the bridge is slated to have major repair replacement and that we have, I believe it's 15 million earmarked from the state and 2 million from the federal government, which has already been spent, if you will. So
yeah, I'm not sure all of it's been spent, and that's at risk. If you haven't spent everything, what you haven't spent is at risk of being taken away.
right. So, but that's 17 million. And then I'm just going to use round numbers for this conversation, obviously needing refinement. But the state, reading through some of the, if you don't comply, they have said that if you don't comply, then are forced to come into compliance later, future grants, we will be at the end of the line. In other words, towns that just complied, if they're asking for grant dollars, they'll be at the top of the list. Towns that say no, even though you're now compliant, will be at the bottom of the list. So this is going to go on. But based on what Milton and those other towns are doing, we're talking about 2 or 3 fiscal years here of suffering the grant loss. So in
Right.
addition to the 17 on the bridge, if you take what we've been doing is just an average $1 million on normal grants times 3 years. Now we're at 20 million. And Kevin was just successful in getting a one-off $1 million grant. Well, I hope it's not a one-off, but he got another $1 million grant. So now we're at 21. The legal fees of fighting are upwards of $1 million. That's 22. And any other, oh, Chapter 90, if that's what, 350 to 650, something like that, depending on the year, going out 3 years, what you very quickly realize is this adds up to a half of a year's operating budget. It's a
Right. I
lot
mean, the
of
funds,
money.
right, the funds are very significant. And at one of the information sessions, I think a citizen said, well, it's really not worth it. It might be $1,000 of extra taxes a year. And maybe for that individual, $1,000 isn't much. But for many people in town, if you increase your taxes by $1,000, that's a significant amount of money, especially if you're on a fixed income. So I don't think we can take the loss of grant money lightly. And I agree with you. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we have really been strategic about matching infrastructure capital projects with grant opportunities. And that really has helped us manage the tax rate. And
Yep.
at the end of the day, those projects, you might be able to push one or two out, but they still need to get done. For instance, the stormwater, we got a lot of grant money for that. We still had to pay a lot, but again, it was a regulation that we needed to be compliant with. The Center Street Bridge has structural issues. You have to repair it, otherwise you're shutting it down. So,
Not to mention paving the roads and replacing culverts, and
right,
it goes on and on. So
fire trucks, the regionalization of the dispatch, that again, some of the repairs we're getting grant money for. So there's a lot of grant money that we want to have access to. There's talk about bringing the rail trail efforts back. There are grants available for that too. That
so
we
I guess my
may,
point is
I don't
it's
have
a
a
big
crystal
number.
ball, right? You just can't ignore it, and we're not trying to be alarmist. It's just a fact.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the state has said what grants and opportunities will be pulled. They have pulled them from the towns who have fought. Therefore, this is not a threat. It's not meant to be dramatic or any way, shape, or form. But if people are going to vote, they need to understand the ramifications of that vote for themselves
Right,
and for their neighbors.
right.
And what I'm getting at is a nice simple number, since what we're talking about is approximately half a year's operating budget
Over 3 years.
over 3 years. Absolutely. And we can't predict the future, but we can predict what the state has said they're going to do. And so with a big number like this, I mean, everyone knows what they pay in taxes. And if we're at half a year's operating budget over the next 3 years, it is reasonable to assume that you're going to get a 50% or whatever you're paying, you're going to have to pay half of that in addition to what you're paying.
Right.
That's
And,
something
and
that
again,
people can relate
the
to.
point I think that's really important here is, and it will all be for no end. We still have to go into compliance.
Right.
So the
Mhm.
cost benefit
Excellent point.
analysis of this is just not at all a sensible one.
Right.
Right.
So the art of all of this is to create bullet points that convey this information that is not, I think you used the word alarmist, Robin. Um, we don't want to do that. We want to be smooth, level-headed, but it is our duty to convey this information to the people of Dover.
Right. And I think what's really impactful and quantitative, we could ask the town treasurer to calculate how much of an increase it would be to each taxpayer in Dover if we had to pay for the Center Street, the 15 million ourselves. Because we would have to bond it, and that would be a 30-year excluded debt and an
20
increase
or
to
30?
everybody. I
20.
don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
She will know, so she can do the calculation. But I think, that will be impactful for people to know.
Absolutely. But I mean, we still have to pay for what the state is not giving us
Right.
and pay interest. So, I mean,
Good
bonding
point.
it doesn't solve the problem.
No, but I mean it's just going to be able to give individual taxpayers an idea of how it will impact them
Right.
personally, their personal finances, because it's not optional to repair the bridge.
Right. Using round numbers to just
Right.
set an approximate estimation. If you pay 20,000 in tax, if we say no, you're gonna have to pay $10,000 more. Whatever. We can work on all the
Right. So
details
let's
and
so
get
I
it
think
from
we
there,
should
but
have her work through that. But I think these are good points because nobody you could say, well, here is a concrete example. This $15 million has been earmarked. We believe, based upon the information we know today, that if we vote no, we will not get this funding. And this is the cost to you as a taxpayer for repairing the bridge. Period.
Sorry to be a squeaky wheel, but we won't get the funding, and we will still have to comply.
Right,
That-
no, you're absolutely right, Cam. You're not the squeaky wheel. You're absolutely right. After spending $1 million to defend ourselves.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And it's one more bloody nose with the state. So,
right.
I mean, there are times when resisting or fighting or whatever the right words are make sense. And there are times when they do not. And since one option has literally zero negative impact on the town of Dover, and the other one has a significant known financial impact. All right.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I would add to that, Dave, just one other thing is that it's misdirected to fight the town on this. If people are concerned that this is the state imposing unreasonable requirements on the town, then they should be going after the state law, not after
Exactly.
uh, our funding projects.
right. I, so well said, but that's a
Amen.
factoid, Cam, I'm going to ask you to kind of write up and send in because it's very important.
Mm.
Uh, but and the other thing too is I don't know if we do the poster boards, do we also want to consider a postcard mailing from the Board of Selectmen to A, get people to the town meeting, and B, it's another platform to put out 5 bullet points?
I like that idea and do it during the blank space time. We have the planning board sending out the special purpose blue book, and then we'll have Dover Days, and then there's a lot of weeks going by, so I think we should think about when to send that out, but I think that would be a good thing to send out, maybe a week before town meeting.
Mhm.
just to remind people, next Monday is town meeting, and this is why you need to go, and this is why you should vote yes.
So mail it the Monday or Tuesday before. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, or something like that.
All right. And then, because the
But I
highway
leave it
sign,
to the experts. I leave it to Chris and Mike to.
You know, that if we were to do something like that, it might be good to have a similar handout at Dover Days, or maybe even the same one. And then where it's the same message, same materials, and we're really pushing it out there to foot traffic and all the house.
I like that, and I really like those little what are they called? The barcode things.
QR code, yeah, we could have a QR code that,
Right.
you know, goes to the site, or we could create a more pared back version of the site with key messages. So there's some options there that we can look into.
well, that's it. So now before they get a duck, they have to read the postcard.
Yeah.
I'm sure all the seven-year-olds will love that. So
We can say to them, read this, and you have to memorize one and tell us which one it is, and then you get a duck. And nobody will come to our booth.
that's right. But yeah, okay. So the path forward here is we're gonna, Robin, you wrote a draft, I wrote a draft. Do you want us to work off of those? Or will something new be coming to us?
So I think my draft is much shorter. Your So I would, if you're okay with it, I would use my draft, which really just supports, it's more focused on supporting the planning board, and that's a draft. So feel free to add other bullets or other suggestions.
Yep, and a lot of it, it's very hard for us to support in a vacuum.
Right.
So we don't know what the warrant committee and or capital budget is going to put down on the finance. It would be great if they could kind of summarize the financial impacts. But
So that's
that's up to
why,
them.
if we get it to the planning board on the 22nd, and then we can all they'll work on it, take a read through it. I think, Mike, you can relay to Melissa that, we do want to make sure that some of the support for this article also, we don't want to repeat ourselves because the message gets lost, but let's make sure that the key points are hit with all of the boards making the recommendation. So, it probably does make sense for Warren to focus on some of the financial aspects.
And the capital budget
That's
as well on the
typically the
grants
role.
side of things, because we've done a lot of work on the capital budget to secure
Right.
grants.
Yeah, and that's everything capital budget, right? So maybe we could talk to Barry as well, because
Mhm.
I mean,
Well, here's a question for you. Are we counting the green energy grant we got for the Carroll Community Center?
That's money that's been spent, I think. But the thing
But
is
in
that
terms of historical grants
the
received
green
by the town,
yeah,
the
that's how we
green
came up
communities
with the
grants are on
million.
hold now until we've actually opened up the community center, and then we will be eligible for more grants under that. And if, of course, if we fight it, then we won't.
Right. So Dave, when we came up with the on average a million, we went back five years and we counted green communities grants that we got over the 5 years.
great.
And there were some years that the only grant we actually got was the Green Communities Act. And then there were other years where we got more grants.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it was being
Yeah.
counted.
Robin, one
Right.
thing I would like to see would be a squeaky wheel comment in that
And what's your
draft as
squeaky
well.
wheel comment suggestion, Cam?
The law is not optional, but attempts to avoid compliance could be quite expensive, something
Right.
like that.
Right.
And the law is still not optional. It just,
Right.
that's like,
Fight it all
And
you
that,
want, but you're going to comply with it one way or the other.
yeah, right.
It's not a fight you can win. I don't know how you say
No.
that. All right. So Mike, if you could just work with everybody and get suggestions. I have no pride in authorship. Last night, as I was listening to the education session, I said, these are the points that I think are most important. So,
And I particularly like the lack of jargon in that one, Robin. I think that you make the points very clearly and concisely, and I think that's something we've got to get across because the vast majority of the residents of the town are not um, trying to wrap their ribs around 34s and 40Bs and all sorts of other things. They want to understand what this really means for them, and I think that's the point that we need to focus on.
right.
Another thing that I'm now borrowing from when we got the Chickering School built and had that special town meeting is you can have a one paragraph blurb on the back of the blue book. So
Mhm.
it's literally on the cover and it's a one paragraph and it we were told after the fact that that had a tremendous impact on positive voting.
Hmm.
Um, for what it's worth, but um there are many ways to skin this cat, and it all comes down to we all want the exact same thing. So how do we best get everyone else to become educated and understand this to the point where they can vote effectively? And that's the art of all of this.
Right. Right. All right. So I think this was a really good discussion and it I'm really pleased that we all reached the same conclusion on this is the right thing for the town. So as town leadership, we're all on the same page. And I think that
Absolutely.
that's really important.
Indeed.
All right, so now we'll move on to more mundane things. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Chris. And this is the renewal of the contract with Vadar, which is our accounting system and financial management software.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds exciting, right?
Oh,
So,
it's
you know,
really exciting.
so yeah, what we have here is a 3-year renewal for one of our, what I like to call enterprise softwares. This is a big backbone of the organization. As Robin mentioned, this is our financial management software, maintains our general ledger and all the accounting details for any given fiscal year. So we worked with Vadar for a number of years. We're pretty satisfied with the product. The support from Vadar has been great, particularly for myself, who's someone who's stepping in and needs to use it frequently and it needs a lot of support. So happy that the service level they've given us here. But the contract is for 3 years. It's for just over $30,000 a year. For comparison's sake, the last time we renewed this agreement in 2023, the total cost of the agreement was 28,500. So our number of users has grown a little bit over the years, and we definitely have to move people in and out of licenses to get what we need, but we're pretty confident with the 43 users being appropriate at this time, as in the contract. So happy to answer any questions, give any more details about what this is and what the contract entails.
So, Chris, can you add licenses?
Yes, you can. Every license, that's just the nature of the software. Every license is additional cost.
Right.
Uh, so it's a balancing between who's actually absolutely crucial to have access to the system and the cost side of things. So I think we've got a pretty well balanced right now.
Okay.
So Chris, I
Chris,
went
just a
through, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Dave.
I went through the user list because I had a question. I spoke with Mike earlier today and he sent it over. It does look like there are a couple people on here who could be dropped, and at $1,000 per, it's worth looking at. And also, unless I misread or miscategorized, do we really need 6 licenses for the DPW?
I think all these can be looked at, and not to make excuses, but this is something that normally would be a day-to-day operations of the accounting office, which we're a little short at right now, but certainly something we can look at. But I would say that when it comes to this system and the information that everybody needs access to, some of the bigger cost centers in town, like the DPW, they need more access. I could certainly look at all the 6, but I would make the argument that should increase access to this information. It's pretty crucial in how departments operate their budgets throughout the year. So I think at some point this year we'll definitely, pending full staff, and when we get back in motion with trainings on this software, I think we definitely plan to increase knowledge in town across the board. And with that, some of the licensing stuff will get handled.
Well, if you like, we can handle it offline. We certainly don't have to do it here, but it does look like there are some licenses that could be dropped. And again, it's $1,000 or very close to each. So if we don't need
Actually,
them,
David, it looks to me more like 500. So 43 users cost 21,500.
did I misread hold on, I'll go down to the page I'm quoting. I thought it was 990. Even still, I mean, the point one way or the other.
Yeah, no, the point is still valid.
I'm sorry.
Are
Yeah,
we getting the
you are
value
correct,
from
Cam.
usage?
But still, it's why buy
Right.
licenses if we don't need them?
Right.
No, I
And
I
I've got a more
understand
general
that, but
question.
sorry, could I
Chris.
just
Yep.
one more thought, Dave, and thank you. I appreciate the comments. I just some of them, we have to transfer license for some employees that are no longer here. And I think, I have to look at the list one to one, but I think we do plan on repurposing some of the licenses that might be on the chopping block to get rid of. I think there's some other people in the organization that might benefit from being able to access the financial data. So, but I'm with you. We can definitely look at it and figure it out.
Well, you guys know best. I don't know who uses it, how they use it, or what goes on. All I want to make sure is that we're not paying for licenses for people who are no longer working for the town. So,
without a doubt, if we have them, they will be used.
So I've got a more general question, Chris. You've mentioned that you're quite happy with the VIDAR system, and I know that replacing such a system would be an extraordinarily expensive process. But at these times of renewal, I'm wondering whether you've got any overview of what the market for these products in the municipal space is like at the moment, and whether there's some extremely attractive alternatives, and on what basis we should just assume that this is the best system for us and we should keep on going with it.
Yeah, I don't know too much of the history of how we arrived at this product, but I do know a little bit about the broader landscape of these types of systems. I would say this is probably a less common system in comparison to other municipalities. There's one name brand that I won't say the brand, but that is most commonly used. But with that, it tailors to the needs of larger organizations. I think with some other products, you don't run into all the CARP licensing. It's just, all inclusive, unlimited licensing, but also there's a significant factor in cost. So knowing what I know about VADAR, I think that this proposal and software is probably similar to the points that were used in the past are still relevant now, which this is appropriate for our size of organization. Another big aspect of these programs is how well they integrate with other systems that we have in town. We found that they integrate pretty well. We're prepping for our online permitting system and haven't experienced any issues about integration there. So there's some of that stuff too, how it can help alleviate manual work and labor and imports and exports. So haven't really run into any major roadblocks for the software. So,
Mhm.
and all that is to support, like if you were to discuss like switching,
Mhm.
this has what we
Yeah.
need.
Yeah, no, I'm not really suggesting that we switch,
Mhm.
but I think at a time when a license is up for renewal, it's often useful to gauge what the market is doing and maybe just raising a flag to a potential competitor and saying, well, what could you do in this situation and why would you be better for us? It's sometimes helpful to get a better deal as well. But I'm not suggesting that this be done now, but it's something that I think would be well worth considering going forward when
Absolutely. And
we
if
when
that's,
we are replacing software licenses like this.
yeah, I think it's always a great question. Now is the time to ask the question. Truthfully, I wish we were better positioned to handle a
No, I
change like
understand
that.
that. Mhm.
Yeah, no, for certain, and not to delve into other products and everything, but knowing what I know about some of the competitors, it would be a pretty hefty cost increase that ultimately.
I'm sure, yeah. But it's
But
worth
yeah, no,
not just thinking that. It might be worth occasionally exploring it,
of
and
course,
one might be surprised. So, but I'm not suggesting one should do that right now.
no worries. Thanks for the comments.
All right, so then if we're comfortable, can I move to approve the Vadar System financial management software contract with Dover, Mass for financial software applications effective July 1st, 2025 through July 30th, 2028, pending review of the number of licenses necessary.
I'll second that, except the second date is June 30th, 2028.
Sorry.
You said July by accident.
Okay, June 30th, 2028. Thank you for
Yep,
keeping
yep.
me.
Second.
All in favor? I, Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Haviland.
Thank you, Hudson.
All right. And then we are moving to the next item of business where we finally hear from our esteemed town administrator. It is a vote to declare the Department of Public Works Mack truck. Oh, and 2014 John Deere tractor as surplus items. And it's the 1979 Mack truck.
That's right. So
I feel
you
like we
pretty
should have a
much
special ceremony for this.
Thank you. I was just like, this thing should be in a museum. So
It lived the blizzard of 78. No. We got it after the blizzard of 78.
yeah, right after. Yeah. Well, I think you kind of hit it all. In accordance with our disposal policy, the DPW is requesting permission to dispose of these two trucks. We don't anticipate a large value. The 1979 actually could have a value of up to $5,000. It's at auctions. We'll see. The John Deere tractor we expect is very little. It was replaced as part of an insurance proceed, but they left the tractor with us. So we'll
here, you
try
take
to
it.
see if we can get $100 or so out of the deal, if possible. So
Did something fall on the John Deere?
I don't want to misspeak. If this was the one, we had an issue where a tractor went
Landed in
into
Channing Pond.
the Channing Pond.
Okay.
I don't know if I think this is that tractor, but
Okay.
I actually don't.
It looks
wanna
a little dinged up.
Yeah.
I
Technical
actually
term.
drove by the pond that day and saw them doing it. And I thought to myself, it's been pretty warm. I can't believe that the ice is thick enough. And then,
Well, and I will tell you, without having any of the details in front of me, they did measure and they have recorded measurement of the ice that day, and it was thick enough to support. But I think just ice is funny, and it got weak in certain spots. So
as long as the operator's okay, that's all I care about.
yes,
We
yeah,
can
everybody
replace
was
a
okay.
tractor,
Yep.
but that could have been a disaster.
Mhm.
But that is one dinged up
Tractor.
John Deere. All right.
It is indeed.
So I am going to move to deem a 1979 Mack truck and a 2014 John Deere tractor as surplus items.
Second,
All in favor? I, Robin Hunter.
Dave Haviland with a tear. Aye.
Hi, Cam Hudson.
I think you might be able to bid on it.
That's right. I can,
There you go. Let's see
not
how
the
much you
John
really
Deere. I
like
want
it.
that 79 Mack truck. Uh,
All right, so the next item of business is selectmen update. And the only update I have, I feel as though we talked about already, which was the update to the MBTA Communities Act meeting last night, and then the public hearing that's going to happen on September the 8th. Other than
Okay.
that, I was at the planning board meeting last night and it was very well run. The site plan reviews were very quick, so the process was working well. And as a matter of fact, I was copied on an email from the resident thanking the planning board for the smooth process.
oh, that's terrific. That's
Yeah, that
great
was
news.
really good.
Mm.
The only update I have is we have our first professional fire chief, Jerry Smith. The Fire Board of Engineers voted to uh, elect, choose, hire. I don't know what the right word is.
And
Jerry,
points.
thank you. Appoint. Told you I didn't know what the right word is. And just I was on the search committee, and then we turned 4 candidates over to the Fire Board of Engineers. They went through. I spoke with Kate Canny, and she goes, "It was great. We had 4 candidates, and I had a really hard time choosing." So that's just shows you the quality of the people that came through the process, and we're delighted to have Jerry. And I think Robin, you get to be at his pinning ceremony because Cam and I are going to be away.
Right.
Mhm.
I missed the chief of police's pinning ceremony because I was away. So do you want to give us the quick and dirty on the background and
I can get it. I'm not going to go off of memory, but
okay.
it was I learned a lot in this process when they did the assessments. It was eye-opening to me.
Hmm.
And I'm looking at it, my scores for Jerry, which are very high. So I agreed. Um, but I'm looking for the resume to find, and of course that's the one because I clipped it.
Mike, do you
If you
remember?
want, I pulled it up. Yep. So I'm happy to share. So
Yeah, please go ahead,
uh,
Mike, because I'm just going to look
yep.
for it.
So no, absolutely. So new Chief Smith is currently a lieutenant with the Westwood Fire Department. He's been a lieutenant since 2018. He's been a firefighter paramedic since 2001. Um, During his career, he has also served as an adjunct faculty in the health science department at Mass Bay Community College. And as Dave said, he did very well in the assessment center. His references were very good. He has a bachelor's degree in fire science, and very excited to have him. And we'll do everything we can to help him be successful in this brand new first full-time fire chief. So everyone's very excited.
So once again, we're
Yes, robbing
poaching
Westwood
Westwood's
resources.
talents.
Yes. I hope we don't hear from their town council on all this. So,
Well, that's great. I'm excited. I think it will really make a difference in the town.
uh, he is set up to succeed, and that's all we can ask.
Right. Right. So then,
And I
Mike,
don't have any updates. My committees are still in summer um, um, sleeping mode,
Hibernation.
hibernation. Yeah.
I'm getting your committees next year.
I was gonna say, I mean, so much for summer break. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You were very kind in the committees you allocated me to. And I'm still trying to
You're
get
gonna have to
hold of the
re-look at
MBTA
those.
communities, for example, of the MBTA advisory board. That's still in process.
Actually, I got an email from them. Let me forward it to you.
Oh, cool.
Oh, it was just about voting somebody. All right, I'll send it to you. So I'm gonna
Robin,
go,
just before we move, I have a couple of these. Before we do that, though, we hopped over item
oh,
5, which
I
was the
hopped
board and
over,
committee
right,
appointments. We
shame
could
on,
just head back there for a second.
shame on me. All right, item 1.5. My apologies to all the volunteers. This was inadvertent. I wasn't using the bookmark feature on my agenda. So, the chairs, the town has many volunteers that help it run smoothly. And each of the volunteers are usually appointed or reappointed by the Board of Selectmen after their committees um, make the determination as to whether the individual should be reappointed or if there's somebody else who may want to run. So this evening, I am very pleased to present the following um, appointees. The first one is for the Town Report Committee, and this is a request to reappoint Mary Calamaris for the 3-year term effective July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. And again, really appreciate Mary being willing to get reappointed. The Town Report Committee really does some great work, and the quality of the town report has noticeably improved over the years. The next is the Open Space Committee, and that's the reappointment of Tara Nolan to a 3-year term effective July 1st, 2025 through June 20th, 2028. And also to amend 1-year terms voted for on July 24th, 25 for Richard Nagy and Greg Cahoon to 3-year terms, also effective July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. And then there's a list of election workers. And do I need to read that list, Mike? But
No, I think you could
okay.
just reference the
Okay.
list as
Okay,
presented.
so it's to appoint election workers as presented in the list for the period September 1st, 2025 through August 31st, 2026. And again, I would like to thank all of the individuals for volunteering to be reappointed. Your dedication to the town really helps it run smoothly. So thank you all. And with that, I'm going to move to appoint or reappoint all individuals to the town's boards, committees, and commissions as presented.
Second.
It's eye-opening just how many election workers we have.
I know. Well,
yeah.
unfortunately, we've had many elections over the last year.
Yeah.
All in favor? Aye, Robin Hunter.
Dave Haviland.
I Cam Hudson.
And also they help out with town meetings, so
Right.
it's very helpful. I think it's helpful having so many because that way if a few can't make it, at least there are others. Our town clerk needs a strong bench or a deep bench.
A deep bench for
Deep,
sure. Well,
strong
both.
bench. Right.
Both. Yeah.
All
So
right. And now I'll move to 1.7 and let Mike give his update.
Great. So just a few things that we haven't talked about. Dave mentioned the fire chief. He stole that from me. We've talked about MBTA, but again, I just love to put out the dates. September 8th is the planning board public hearing. That's via Zoom. Encourage people to participate. And then the actual special town meeting is September 29th. So I just feel like we can't say that enough. It came up today with regard to that discussion, Dover Days. Again, a reminder that's Saturday, September 13th. And that will, while the specific times to be determined, it will also include the ribbon cutting for the Carroll Community Center. So it's already an exciting day, just made that much more exciting.
And we've
Which is
ordered
great.
good weather for the day.
That's right. There is a rain date of Sunday, but we're going to plan on good weather. Um, Not I have two more things. One is I don't know if you noticed, Chris and I have larger than normal smiles on our face, and that's because we are receiving much needed help in our office. I'm pleased to report that our candidate that we selected for the management analyst communication position accepted today. We had an incredibly strong group of candidates. Robin and Chris conducted first round interviews.
Not me.
I said, no, sorry, Robin Tessino. Yep, Robin Tessino.
Robin with an
Our
I.
HR director. Robin with an I, that's right. Chris, Robin, and I sat in on a second round interviews, and then I met one-on-one for kind of a final, more informal conversation. So I'm really pleased to report that Suzanne Hiltz, who you may or may not recognize her name, she actually currently works for the Board of Health. She was an extremely strong candidate. She has a bachelor's degree in communications. In addition to her work for over a year in the Board of Health, she's actually also been working with Chris as a temporary communications assistant. So she's been doing a lot of about 50% of the job already. So it was really nice to know the work product of someone you're interviewing. Sometimes when we all interview, right, we sell ourselves, but you don't know what you're getting, and it was really nice to know what we were getting. So we're really, really excited. Her first day in our office will be on September 10th, I believe, to give some transition period to the Board of Health. And we are just thrilled because, as you just jokingly referenced, this summer has not slowed down. So having her here will be, as we head into the fall of the budget season, will be really great. So we're very excited.
So now
Just to be clear, I wasn't joking.
Yeah.
So now we have an opening in the Board of Health.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So domino effect there. We stole from them, but I'm okay with that. So
well, no, there's a much greater message being sent, Mike, that as you and Chris build up your team, and that is good people get promoted from within.
Right.
And there's paths forward in upward or new areas of interest or whatever it is. But I really commend you guys on doing what you did. So.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it was a tough, good field of candidates, but I feel at the end it was a easy, good choice for us. So, and the last thing, and we don't have to work this out now, but I had a tough time keeping up on emails today, but I know we may have an issue with our September 9th meeting because we have two members traveling who, even if we meet on Zoom, that might be problematic. So we may not have a quorum. So we'll work through offline to see about potentially if it's possible to reschedule that. I will say that we are looking at a moderators meeting the following week, Tuesday the 16th. So that might be an opportunity I don't know if the travelers are back in town, but that might be an opportunity to kind of do a 2-for-1. We are already present for that. We could also do a Selectmen's meeting. So we'll work through that, but I'll just want to mention that to make sure we're all on the same page.
That could work for me.
It would work for me, Mike. As well. How about you, Cam?
Yep. I'm back on September 11th, just before Dover Days.
Okay.
Similarly, yeah, I'll be groggy for Dover Days. But yes, we'll be back. So yeah, either the 15th or the 16th. And since we're already meeting on the 16th, I didn't even think of that. Good for you, Mike. We could meet a little bit before, pause, have moderator meeting, and then finish up if we need to after.
Sure, right. Okay, so we'll confirm everything, make sure that works on our end. I'll check with Mona. I don't know if there's anything pressing. I can't wait, but I'll circle back with everybody.
So it sounds like we should all meet at the airport on the 12th because I'm coming back also on the 12th.
Okay, offsite meeting.
Drive to Dover together. My flight gets in at 11.
We'll post a meeting for Logan just in case you happen to talk to each other.
Yeah, right. That'd be funny.
And that's all I had.
All right. Is that it?
Nope. We have a consent agenda.
I knew there was something.
And the consent agenda consists of the following: approved 2025 special one-day liquor licenses for August 24th, 26th, September 9th, 13th, 16th, and 20th. So I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Haviland.
Cam Hudson.
And then the last thing on my agenda is to adjourn the meeting. So I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Haviland.
Cam Hudson.
And
Thanks,
wishing
everyone.
everybody a wonderful Labor Day weekend, because we are not meeting until after Labor Day. And I think we all need to come into the townhouse to sign the warrant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely see.
Okay.
Mona, did you put that plug in there?
She's trained as well, Dave.
Yes, if you could all come in tomorrow to sign, that would be great, especially the warrant. We've got to send that off to the printer.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a
Bye.
great night. Thank you.
Thank you.